So I'm doing another video. I've got really easy access to use all my things at the moment, so I'll try and pump out a video each day or so while I'm here. But this is a post up on here. Let me just yeah, I can show you how this baby works. So there's my pen. I can do it on this, so I can use this to do it, see? Or I can get this little pen and just go, I can get it onto that little thing there, or I can just do this. It's really cool. So that's by President-elect Rachel Merrill. Antiwhiteism is the evil of our age, and this is Jason Kohne's definition in his book, Go Free, aligning with the archetype of Westernkind. So anti-whiteism, whichever way you spell it, I like it this way actually, thoughts, actions and policies hostile to white people. And Royal Melbourne Hospital, just in case you haven't realised, poisoning a white person, a white woman or man, like you've done with me and many others of our people, to shut us up and to tell us our people don't exist, and that it's persecutory thought, that you're forcefully you're using forced injections, so forced medical procedure on us, and threatening us that you're going to use that if we don't comply with taking extremely dangerous substances that will kill us or worse, maim us. This is anti-whiteism, thoughts, actions and policies hostile to white people, and is literally a definition that was in a dictionary. Okay, I can show you that in his book. And so I just want to share this really quickly, because this is the kingdom I refer to quite a bit. Elbow is trying to change the definition of vaccination. This demonstrates an intent to inject the population again, going against Nuremberg as detailed in the criminal code. Is still an injection of a populace, and it's still forced medical procedure, and it's still a war crime, only this time with a paper trail demonstrating intent. So yeah, so there's some really good comments. If Steve wants this taken down, he'll have to tell me to edit it. This lady here, she's pretty good. She's switched on, I think. This lady, Sarah Oates. Sorry about my reading. Come on. Yeah, so I thought it already was declared somewhere in court that it didn't meet the definition of vaccine, as it did not prevent transmission or provide immunity. Well, the mandates were proven against the law and unlawful in 2024 QSC 315, if anyone wants to know about that. So the Arpra CEO that went over to VIT, in Victorian Institute of Teaching, to become the CEO there, I'll tell you something in a second. So they announced that that man was going to become the CEO of VIT, and I wrote them an email. I might tomorrow bring that out and show you. I'll get into this. So first, this is my diary. I did a lot of work on beginning the County Court of Victoria. This is yesterday. Activity on defamation that was done on me, and the records that they sent to Warwick Hospital in Queensland is difficult and extremely scary material to go through. They've threatened to use injections of the toxic substances that they used on me to shut me up about the injustices done about my people and to us through the hospitals, ambulances and Victoria Police. So we're putting our foot down now. This is Victoria Police interrupted me going to court by complying with trafficking me to the hospital, Royal Melbourne Hospital. They interfered with justice, and I get the blame for not turning up into the magistrate's court. And so the police were tied up because they had to do kind of both. And these foolish people told me my people don't exist, but this is real material from dictionary material. And and yesterday I had a call from Unison. It was a lovely lady. She had to talk to me, hadn't read the notes, had no idea about what was happening or anything about. I said I'm not going to Ozanam House because Ozanam House threatened that if I don't have a mental health plan, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? If I don't have a mental health plan and anything they deem as just not right, they'll send me to the hospital. And they basically have carte blanche because I would have been living in their building. So they would have had access to me at all times. And so that's why I'm not going to Ozanam House. They are not helping people. They are literally agents to a foreign occupant on our soil, causing disruption to our hormones and our thinking and our bodies. They've even got psychiatrically ill people working for them. And then they still say that to us. So I've written fucking useless here. So then Unison, I don't know what they talk, but they don't pass on the correct information. Some guy phoned me up a bit later, a couple hours or hour or something later. So that one was 2 till 3. They must have called me about 4-ish. They must have had a little meeting or something. Or I don't know. There was not a sufficient handover. Whatever it was, there was not a sufficient handover. And the guy that phoned me literally tried to ring up the Braybrook Caravan Park where I've been staying a few days. I'm not going to be here for long. Probably be here maybe till Monday or Wednesday. I've got a lot to do and I can't afford to be here every day. And well, I mean, I could if they took silver. But yeah, basically, the guy phoned me and he said they tried to ask them if they would take a payment by invoice here, and they said they didn't take it. And I was thinking, why don't they just come here, meet me, and just pay it over the bench there, and be done with it? It costs is similar to the junky shit Indian disgusting one they were trying to send me to. They sent me to it last time, and their toilet was leaking, and it stunk like Indian shit food and all of that. Can't stand their shit. It's like they have to spice it up to hide how disgusting it is. It's not even food. I eat steaks. Beef steak, lamb steak, salmon steak. I eat real woman food. White women food. I'm not going to piss around. I eat butter. You warm the butter up and you put eggs and cook it, and it's fucking perfect. You got to add cream one day. You got to really try that. Oh my God. But you have to get a good cream. Get the unhomogenized and very lightly pasteurized or not pasteurized. That's the kind of milk you need. Yeah, and if you're going to buy cheese, and this is my little bit of food involved in the middle, because there's always food on the mind. If you're going to get cheese, get animal rennet, not non-animal rennet, because the animal rennet is better for our digestive system, particularly Anglo, Celts, Germanics, Norse, etc. We have developed over a long time. We've always had cattle, okay, and we've developed a long time where we use the stomach of the calf that we kill. We kill the calves to eat, by the way, not all of them, but you can't have too many bulls in a mob, so, or in a pack, or I don't know what you call them, herd. So we use the stomach lining of the calf that can digest the dairy. We use that in our cheese, and that helps our digestion to do the work that a calf's digestion would do. That's what rennet is, okay? It's not cruelty. You're using a calf that you're going to sacrifice anyway, because you can't have too many bulls, okay? So when we have the cattle, We have lots and lots of cows. You have a whole herd of cows, and you probably have 1 or 2 bulls to, 10 cows or something. You don't need many bulls. So they get turned into that, they get made into meat. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but young, yeah, it's a younger meat. It's softer and tender. I can't think of what it's called, but yeah, see what I mean? It's part of just the disability, and you'll see that in Croucher J's assessment. I think I've shown you that before. But here, so this guy didn't know where I was, because after he said that they tried to ring up this place and wanted to pay them by invoice, they said no, and he said, "Where are you right now?" And I was thinking, I just spent from 2 till 3 p.m. an entire hour talking to this woman, telling her where I was and what it was about, and she knew all about it, and she said how lovely it is and all of this stuff. We're talking about the environment, how lovely. Such a nice people here. It's great. It's really nice. It's so peaceful. It's quiet. You can come and go. You can get out of the driveway easily. It's amazing. I didn't even realize there was such a place in my home grounds. So, I mean, I knew it was there, but you never really think about it. And I was sleeping in my sedan for 6 months. I could have been popping in and out here. It would have been really nice. But yeah, I didn't sort of think that way. Once you get in survival mode, you don't think you don't think beyond what's necessary. You're always constantly going, right, what do I do now? Now what do I do? Now what do I do? It's really hard to not be in that when you sort of, especially, I don't know, I think it might also be because I'm female, I don't know. But yeah, you get to a survival mode. So yeah, anyway, so this guy was saying, so where are you? And I'm like, I just spent an hour talking to this woman, and he doesn't know where I am. I said, look, you know what? Don't worry about it. I just hanged up on him because he didn't fucking know where I was after an hour of talking with this woman, and she didn't tell him. And so they were going to have this blessing and opportunity to pay a little bit ahead for me, and they just want me to go to an Indian shithole that stinks. I can tell you exactly where it is. It's Palms Motor Inn or Motel. It's on Geelong Road, which is Princess Highway up in Footscray. And it's disgusting. It stinks like their shitty food, and the toilet leaked. The one I went to, they put me out of mercy and straight into this place, and it was absolutely disgusting, stinky. It was a good room in the sense of it was a safe, quiet sort of, place off the road. You had a car spot and all of that. But it was nothing. This place here shits all over it in the way how good it is here. So I found this one. I rang them from Narrandera. I keep forgetting what it's called. Wherever I was, Narrandera, I think it is, in New South Wales. I said, look, I'm coming on this date. Looks like I'll appear that day. Yeah, great. I booked 2 weeks, but I couldn't bring my caravan here. Anyway, caravan's been retrieved and put into someone else's property, so it's got a few weeks there. Yeah. All right, so that was to put this into context, and so I wrote my thoughts here about Unison and how stuffed up they are. I've been asking for their assistance since 2022, and the Department of Housing, I'm going to look that up. I've got to look up I want to look up, or get someone to look up, how many people they've housed from overseas in between 2022 and now, which is 4 years now. 4 years. And see how many people of different countries, occupants on our soil, that they have housed since then. It's only a few years. I was on their system back when I was a little child. Okay, I've been on their system almost, I would say, my whole life, except for 1 year I came off because I earned enough. And I just happened to have earned enough that I could do what I needed to do, but then it went back on again. And they didn't ask me any questions. They put me straight back on it with no questions. So, but I've been left homeless by these jinx who decided to lie in the court and commit perjury by proxy. And then the court decided to say I went to tribunal. I said it can go back to the tribunal, which is not what I said. Okay, the Japanese have a practice where they don't directly say no, but they say no in a different way. And that's what I did in the courtroom. I said it 3 times. I said I prefer to do this or be struck out. And he sent it to the tribunal and then wonder why I got upset and all that. Anyway, all right, so let's keep going. So Unison, talk to them. They pass us from place to place. So they expected me to go from here to this Indian dive bar. Fucking rooms. It's better than the street. Well, I don't know if it is. Because I can just come back here for a few nights a week. I can stay in my car a couple nights, come here a couple nights, just keep booking here and there. It makes no difference. But I don't have to spend the money I can just stay in my car, it doesn't matter. But I said, don't worry about it, I'll just go sleep down by the Maribyrnong River. No problem. It's more reflection on you guys. Unison, Department of DFFH, I think it is, Department of, it says Families, Fairness and Housing. I don't know how it's fair when they fucking put non-whites before us. I mean, we're the freaking naked owners, you idiots. Anyway, pass us from place to place and fuck us all around. If they solved homelessness, this is the real reality. If they solved homelessness, they would have completed the job and have no fucking foreign debt slavery to peddle. They'd then have to actually provide a real product or service or go homeless themselves, because nobody would tolerate their shit. Nobody tolerates someone sitting around, except for the disabled or the invalids or the elderly, widows and widowers and all of that. And the veterans. They're the only people we tolerate sitting around and doing nothing. So these people can't even be bothered getting to a place and paying in the correct way to prevent someone having to pick up and move to another room somewhere. They just don't care. They don't care. You just have to move. It's just tough shit for you. And this is like Sharon, Sharyn, is a teacher at Yarraville West Primary School, and all of the staff there that deliberately genocided me out of that local school that I served right back from Year 10 high school cross-age tutoring service. And that my friends' siblings all grew up and went through that school and all of this sort of thing. And these migrant bitches, when they came into high school, they wanted to, and these are European, what's she? I'm trying to think of what. Called herself Gorica, Gorica. It's Gorica. We're English here. And all of these people deliberately targeting me and bullying me just like they used to at school. And the reason they do it is because we're the progeny of the Anzac. Okay, they don't realise, maybe they don't know. I bet they do. Because they know white Australian, blah, blah, blah. They don't realise they're part of the white of Australia. And that they are being genocided too. They just don't realise that yet. But don't worry, it's coming. And it's probably all upon them already. I mean, you got women who just don't bother, don't get involved with the guys and do family stuff and all of that. Okay, so, and then I added a bit more. And like the creatures at St. Mary's in Altona that genocided me from teaching entirely, and the CEO from Arpra, sorry, it's not, I don't know the letters, that moved to being CEO in Victorian Institute of Teaching and genocided me from teacher registration when I told VIT he needs to be reported for poisoning an entire populace. And despite county court rulings, they cancelled said registration. Now, the county court, something happened with Victoria Police. And when I went to the magistrate's court, not only was I physically extremely unwell, I couldn't eat or drink without, vinegar or something, because my stomach just wasn't, nobody told me I couldn't have fruit. They, in fact, advised me to have fruit. And my stomach, it was just fermenting. It's the opposite of acidic. It was the other way. And it was just fermenting and making me sick and giving me fatty liver, because it was fermenting in my stomach like alcohol. And so I was extremely sick, and I went to the magistrate's court. The police constantly have the wrong name and date of birth. They've been doing this for bloody years on years. I discovered, so they had my name wrong, so I had to go to the court and stop them harassing me and go to the court and go, this is what is my name and date of birth and whatnot, and, joined her with the fucking magistrate. He was actually nice. What was his name? Can't remember. He was all right. They're pretty good. I mean, they're very staid men. And I think the women probably are too, but yeah, the men are very staid. I like them. They work well, And so I went to the magistrate's court and they ruled. Now, bear in mind, I was sick, all right? I was very physically sick. And I had to change over completely to carnivorous, for the most part. I do eat potato and sometimes little biscuits with oats in them, oat and butter. So oats, butter and salt and milk. But yeah, I try not to. Anyway, so I go to the magistrate's court and he rules that he wants to do a discharge, and not a discharge, a diversion order. And I said, I don't want a diversion order. And he tricked me. I was so sick, right? And I know when you walk in, you've got to set the jurisdiction, right? And he tricks me. He goes, can you just go out there? I said, I've got to give you these papers. I need a copy of them first. I didn't have a chance to do it. And he goes, great, you can go out and just go down to level 2. They'll copy it out for you. And you can come back and you can give us the documents. Little filthy sucker tricked me. Anyway, I go out and I'm super unwell. Like, I couldn't eat or drink without this fucking vinegar. But anyway, I go to level 2. I look at the price. It's like 60 cents a page. I'm like, piss off. No, you can bloody, I'll give you what I've got and you can bloody, too bad. I went back in and he goes, right now, so I want to do a diversion order. Is that okay? I said, I don't really want it. And he's like, I can do that and we can all leave. Like, I can do it right now within the next, second or whatever. And I don't know what happened, but I ended up, he said, is everything, is that all true? And I said, well, half. And they gave me a piece of paper and got me to write on it. And I wrote, it's half true and half not true. So they got that on the documents, that it was half true and half not true of what happened. And he put it through. So he ended up giving me a diversion order, right? So usually a diversion order means you write down, this is 100% true, it happened, but these are the circumstances or whatever, And the thing is, I didn't write that. I wrote, it's half true and half not true, but I can't confirm which ones because I can't self-convict, right? And so it went through and that was it. And I was like, a bit later I come back and I took it into the county court, which wasn't really the right place for it. It was supposed to go Supreme Court. But anyway, it went to the county court. The reason it was supposed to go to the Supreme Court is, although it was a criminal matter, a very minor criminal matter, that would have gone to the county court had I had a conviction, right? But what happens if you haven't got a conviction and you want to appeal it, it has to go to Supreme Court because it's a different decision, right? Because you were marked as, you haven't got a conviction. You're innocent. You haven't been proven either way. So you're considered just doesn't exist, right? And so I put it into the county court, and the county court ruled that we can't actually do this because it's not in the jurisdiction, which is true, which I didn't know. Nobody told me. I hadn't worked that one out until I got there, and the police had a reference and they didn't give it to me. But that's the ruling, right? And so the county court, she was lovely. She was really good. She was very staid as well. She was very good. I can't think of her name either. There are lots of names for me to remember. She wrote out an order that said, for the teaching profession to know, this is not a conviction. There's no conviction being made on this thing. Okay? So there's no proof or evidence of claim, because it was ruled that there was a diversion one way or the other, but there wasn't a conviction. So there's no decision made on it. And like I said, standard form, people usually write, yes, this happened, it's true. All I said to the magistrate was, this situation occurred. But I didn't tell him everything was yes. I said, it's half true and half not true. They fabricated some of it, and they poisoned me and put me in the hospital. And I had no way to record the injuries they caused me. So if it had gone through a judgment, there would have been self-defense issues that I could not prove because I did not have the senses about me, because they drugged me with midazolam against my affidavit of that topic, and caused me to be sick. And then they assessed me based on what they drugged me with. So it all ended up really, really messy, and medically very, very messy. And it's distressing. Anyway, so they gave me a court ruling that said, we can't do this one because it's not in our jurisdiction, and for the purpose of the teaching, this is not a conviction, and so there's no evidence being discussed on it. Now, VIT wanted all the ins and outs and details, and I said, sorry, court said this, right? And I sent them the order. That was on the order, right? Now, VIT wrote out to everyone and said, we're welcoming the new CEO from Arpra, who's now becoming our CEO. And I wrote back and said, I'm sorry, 2024 QSC 315 states that those mandates were unlawful and against the law. And that's unlawful, right? And as a teacher, I have a mandatory reporting responsibility to report this person who caused some forced medical procedure on a whole heap of children and staff, and stopped people working if they didn't take a forced medical procedure that could have killed them. And people were sacked who were on full-time ongoing contracts with those schools. They were put out of work, and their contracts were cancelled, even if they had a medical exemption. So therefore, this person cannot be near children, and cannot be near schools, and cannot be registering the teachers, can't be near the teachers, because to do so would be to inflict this crime upon them. So I have an email history of this. Okay, and when I did that and wrote them about that, they backtracked my registration back to the date of this, a year and a half before that, and cancelled the registration retrospective. And I've got the email lineage of that happening. And so while we have a county court order, these organisations, VIT and all of this, they are not looking at the court papers. They don't give a shit. They want you to go through the nitty-gritty and all the details and give them everything of what they expect that they want, But you also need to shut up about this kind of thing too. Right? So being a teacher, you have to be in cahoots with poisoning an entire populace. You have to be in cahoots with poisoning an entire populace, children, teachers, families, etc., and yourself, basically. You have to be in cahoots with these crimes. But don't, like in addition, all right, because they're part of an administrator and a foreign occupant on our soil, they're peddling the foreign debt slavery, the AUD, right? They will not pay you in silver. They don't have any silver. So they're using our stuff to sell back to us so that we can peddle their poisoning in the entire populace and peddle the AUD, sell off our stuff, sell off our country, kill off our families, kill off our people, genocide ourselves and genocide our families and friends and our neighbours and everybody else around us. So that's not, I mean, it's against everything a teacher is supposed to be. It's completely against everything a teacher is meant to be. And up until a decade or two ago, we still had the older teachers who were still fighting for our rights and fighting for all the the good fights. The strong backbone of teaching was still there. But the last, probably since 2019 and just a bit before that, maybe before that actually, somewhere between 2008 and 2019, a shift occurred across that a bit of time. It was already happening, but in between 2008 and 2019, a whole heap of shit shifted in the teaching. And Centrelink and a few other places really shifted, and it became really kind of and I mean, I suppose it was already like that to some degree. You could bully each other out. If you didn't like someone, you just bullied them out because they're all privileged bastards. And they just destroy each other. And this is what this Sharon and all these other people, so Yarraville West Primary School and St. Mary's Altona, which is a Catholic school. I shouldn't have been there. I told them I'm Anglican, and to me it's the same thing. So, they didn't like that very much. But not only that, but they didn't give me simple pointers. I had never had a full-time job in a school, and they expected me to know all the things like, going to assembly and different things after 16 years or something of not being a classroom teacher or not being in a teaching team because I was casual. So they just expect you to fucking know everything somehow. And instead of the school didn't, Yarraville West would never employ their own agency staff, their own pool. And then this bitch Sharon comes in from China, loving her little Chinese people, but doesn't give a shit about her local people, walks in and says when that teacher, the principal was an amazing woman, when she retired, a younger one came in, and the vice principal didn't want to become the new principal. She should have. She's a great woman. I wish she did become that, because she just got steamrolled by all these bitches. But she was of the old school too, and I believe that comfort is now gone. She had the comfort. She could have seized it, but she didn't. And I'm very disappointed about that, because she was amazing. And she, once the old principal left, and this has happened at so many schools, when they leave, when the old principal leaves, the new principal comes in. The same thing happened at St. Mary's, actually. Yarraville West had happened 2019, and the same thing happened at St. Mary's 2019 too. Both happened the same year. And then 2020 occurred, and you had all this shit. And I was very grateful not to be in schools at that point, but I had already been genocided out. So, you know, I'm okay to be homeless as long as I can sort of stop by places and do things and work out how to build a trust and a charity and work out how to get it earning and doing stuff. So I don't really know how to do everything, but yeah, so that's my little diary spill today. And this is what the computer does when it's sort of resting. It's quite pretty. It just does this color splash. You see the screen? And you just touch it and it comes back on. See? It's really cool. It's got all this stuff. And this is like what runs this screen. And the buttons all run that screen. And then this one, see this here? Where is it? You can turn off the bottom one, or you can switch and watch this. I'll press it. I'm pressing this one here. So it's a switch one. Watch. See, that all went there and all that went there. Now I do it the other way. And it goes, should take it back up. Come on. There it is. Right? And yeah, so... Right, so let's see, what else have we got down here? You know that best Australians can do is argue with each other so they carte blanche control over you all. Yeah, they do, they know that. So here's a few more. Oh, show less, no. Go back to arguing with each other. Yeah, go back to arguing with each other. Yeah, so you'll see featured comments. Oh, I've got the right... I have to do this every time. I keep putting it as sort. Come here. Sort. Whoops. Newest. Top. Go with newest. It shows more. More of them. Vaccine of the cow. Yeah, something like that. This definition was called OS from memory with the 3-letter agencies. So I've told you before that this is where it will come down to proof of claim. Whatever. I thought it already was declared somewhere in court that it didn't meet the definition of vaccine. Yeah, but it was also declared as... the mandate was declared as unlawful. So it's against the law to lock people down and to mandate them to wear a mask and to mandate a vaccine. Or any injection type, you know, any foreign intervention, you know, any, oh, I'm tired, any of those, oh, what's it called? Oh, man, freak, I'm tired. Any of those, forced medical procedure, that's the word. Yeah, so you got to get used to using the correct words and language, and you can see those languages in the Criminal Code Act 1995 Commonwealth, Section 268 and 270, I think. Yeah, so there's a lot going around, there's a lot of stuff, and I harp on over and over and over and over and over. And the reason is because I'm still in the mix of everything, and I've had a good year of almost not doing any of the work that I need to do. That hospital really set me back. They really poison you into submission, and yeah, really just genocidal behavior. And so anytime I have contact with governments or police, or I'm not as scared of the police as much. It's more contact with people who believe they have the power to put you in hospitals, people who believe that, oh, you've got a mental health issue, or whatever. They believe all this shit, and they basically will say dob you into hospitals or whatever. And if you don't listen and talk, they just force you. They'll come and traffic you. And so I live with that constantly, that they could do this at any time. And those records I showed you in another video, just a day or two ago. Yesterday, I think. Or was it today? Oh my gosh, days are just going so fast. And they literally just drug you and shut you up. And there's lots of non-whites in the mix and non-Australians who, like, might be Irish or whatever, and they also don't know what's going on. They don't know we're self-determining. They don't know about the Attorney General's website and his recommendations on self-determination. They think that I'm just all about litigation, and I need to know the law and what's going on. And when they said in those papers that I was constantly writing court stuff, some of it was court stuff, but actually some of it was complaints to them. They wouldn't let me use a basic pen. I had to use a texter to write, and it was coming out really big. I should show you some of them. That is total gaslighting, to do that to somebody, especially someone who's got a brain in their head that functions. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to get off again. I try to keep it down to 40 minutes. It's 41, 42 minutes now. But I'm going to try and keep it under 40 minutes. I talk too much. I'm sorry. I'm female. What can you do? And I really don't do much else except for small things like shopping and writing court documents and reading. I've got to get my books out of that storage unit and use them. I've just got so much. Now I've got a year behind on everything because some bitch at Centrelink decided that, and these fucking non-whites who come along and try and assess someone, they don't understand, they don't care, they get their collateral beneficiaries, so to our destruction. So they get what is ours, gets given to them. So and how do you explain that? Well, knowwhatguilt.org, I'd go there and you can go and learn all about how the anti-white narrative works, how they gaslight us constantly, they're collateral beneficiaries to our destruction. And Steve talks about it all the time. He just doesn't say the words I say, but he is saying it, he's telling you. These are facts. Okay, putting our king in a mental hospital or a jail cell simply for putting something on the table of our people that's relevant to us, that is criminal. Okay, it's criminal. We are known now. We have the Attorney General's website. We've got all these different things. We are a people. And if Royal Melbourne Hospital doesn't like it, they can shove it. It's bad luck for them. Because Justice Lonergan said it might be uncomfortable and you might not like it, but it's too bad. Okay, because it is what it is. Now, if everyone, certain groups have the right to self-determination, well, so do we. We have a racial, cultural, historical, ongoing, way of being a people. Okay, so that's the way it is. So Royal Melbourne Hospital, you're just, and Department of Education and VIT and all the little related bits and pieces, they're all going to have to be grouped up together and put into courtrooms. And I don't like having to do it all by myself. And like Steve has put out to ask people to get together and do stuff as a people. And you just leave us all, everyone leaves us all by ourselves. And do you know how difficult and intimidating it is trying to do all this by yourself? It's extremely difficult. We are not built to be individuals. We're built to be communities, families, houses, estates, etc. Okay, that's how we are as a people. We don't naturally do well by ourselves. It's not really possible. You can't tend the herd and keep the house and keep the car or horse buggy, whatever. You can't do all of it. You can't do the water gathering. You can't do it all. You can do a lot of it, but one person, it's impossible. And yet all the people leave me by myself. All the people leave, like what, Steve has to go and get everything himself. I've got a $4,500 computer that I can send to him. It's a laptop. I don't know if he'll want it. But it would be nice if people would contribute to those costs. Because $4,500 from a disabled woman. But you know, in the Bible, I also noticed something, right? If you see it, there's this thing called the widow's mitre. And it's like, he says pay a certain amount, right? You're supposed to pay a certain amount to help God's will, which is like help disabled or homeless or sick people or something, like poor people, etc. If you have 2 cloaks, give 1 to the poor. You know what I mean? If you have lots of food, give some to the poor. If you get a good harvest, leave the last fruits for the poor. It's like leaving the last for the puka in Celtic tradition. You always leave the last fruits, the nice ones, the nice last fruits, to the puka, which is significant, okay? It's the same as leaving it to the poor, but except the puka's a scary little shit and you'll do mischief if you don't leave the food. You see, we invent those kind of things to our culture because that's what we believe in doing. And then, so the widow had not that much money, but she had 1 mitre, which is like 1/10 of a silver or something, like a small bit, like a copper. And she gives that, and they said, you know, come go away, you haven't got that much, like you don't have to give, you haven't got enough. And he tells her, I think it's Jesus or something, he tells the people, don't push her away, let her pay, that's all she's got. But she is giving more than you are giving because you don't give that percentage. Like say if I had $100 and I gave $10, right? If someone had $10 and they gave $1, it's still 10%. It's 10%. So if I got $10 and I give you $1, right? That's 10%. If I have $100 and I give you $1, that's 1%. So the equivalence is different. So if you have $100, you're supposed to give $10, not $1, because the equivalence is the percentage of increase. So if I have $1,000, I now have to give $100 because that's the 10%. So you give incrementally upwards. So what that said was the widow who had a mitre and offered that mitre, which is like a little copper or a tenth or whatever. It's a copper, like a 2-cent coin or something. Or what do you call them? Pennies. 12 cents is a penny. And she gave the mitre, and the people said, don't go there, right? I already said that bit. Her percentage of what she gave was massive compared to what she had, because it couldn't be divided any smaller. She just gave it. Whereas the other people, they're not given mitres, they're given like $1 instead of giving $10. They could have given her $9 and given the $10th away. So, and that's what successfulness is. Being successful is giving 10% to a worthy cause, like a disabled or homeless or, I don't know, poor person or anything, right? Whatever it might be, a widow or a widower, whatever it might be. And save 10%, and then the 80% you divide equally, divide into your home, your food, etc. That's the wisdom. I learned that at Latter-day Saints, and also online you can listen to things like Richest Man in Babylon. Not that you want to be in Babylon, but that's a book. So there's stories and things you can listen to learn about that. Okay, there's plenty I can tell them off my head, but I just don't know the scriptures for them. You just have to look them up. Anyway, I'm going to get off. I'll leave you with that. So anti-whiteism, Royal Melbourne Hospital, it not only does it exist, don't put it in talking marks, okay? You're proving yourself just anti-white. And when someone's saying about it, you really need to understand that this is factual, that's really happening. We are self-determining as a people, and we're not fucking about, okay? You are going to get slandered, you're going to just get, not slandered, slaughtered in the courtroom. You're just going to get totally, I don't know, hopefully the courts listen. And the magistrates were. I believe they want it to go to the Supreme Court, because that's where the real battle is. Okay, that's where you really talk about the facts and put it, because Supreme Court's made a lot of decisions that has desecrated our language. So some of this stuff needs to go to the Supreme Court to even out the power level where it is. So this is where it gets difficult. You can't just do it in the magistrate's court, because it makes no difference whatsoever, especially if the Supreme Court's talked on the topic. So that's why I don't know if this meant to go to the county court or the Supreme Court. I can do either, but if they want to challenge it, it might end up in Supreme Court anyway. So, I don't know. Supreme Court's better decision, but county court seems easier. They're much clearer. They talk it, they write the instructions better. And I haven't got such a great history with, such a big history with them. I had one case and she was really helpful with how she wrote the order. But I've started to understand the court's sort of way the cases run a little bit. Yeah, I said goodbye, didn't I? All right, I'm cutting out. Okay, have a good evening. It's night time. And it's Friday, Good Friday. And it's not Easter, because we already did all that. I have a ton of videos to post. Oh my God. Anyway, I've got to go back into the history. Have a good one.